game with a friend that went so wrong so quickly that it ruined your friendship? That was you coming into contact with the magic circle. The magic circle was a term that was coined by Dutch historian Johan Huizinga. Basically, it encompasses the idea that during a game or a play state, we're in this separate zone where the rules are specific just to that game, and you may be able to do things that you normally wouldn't be allowed to do. Think like playing at the D&D table and being a murder hobo when in real life that would get you arrested. Another example is a social deduction game like Mafia or Werewolf, where you're encouraged by the rules of the game to lie to your friends. Or in normal life, if you did that, you probably wouldn't be friends anymore. The interesting thing about the magic circle is that not everybody views it the same, and it tends to be more implicit consent than explicit, or like a conversation that's being had. So a lot of the times it leads to people not having their needs met at the play table. Think of like the competing RPG role player hyper versus the murder hobo at the D&D table, or somebody playing Mafia that is very sensitive and does not like being lied to and can't quite tolerate when their friends do so. All of a sudden, you have a big blow-up argument at your table, and nobody is really clear on what exactly was the sticking point because everyone's perceptions of how the game should be played were different. The magic circle gets shattered, and then a meta conversation needs to happen around how to move the game forward and make sure that everybody is still having fun instead of taking things personally. Ultimately, the magic circle is this kind of flow state / sanctified space, but it can be broken at any time by the perception from someone within that the rules are unfair, or it's out of alignment with their morals, or it's just not something they wanted to participate in the first place. So yeah, when your little cousin is raging and melting down at you for kicking their ass at Mario Kart, and they dip and refuse to play anymore and flee the scene, that is actually them revoking their implicit consent from the magic circle of the game. Personally, I find it very fascinating how similar the magic circle is as a sociological concept to political concepts like the social contract theory by Rousseau. The idea of social contract theory was that most individuals on a day-to-day basis are giving implicit or explicit consent to their government to continue to make laws, rules, regulations in exchange for their safety, security, and rights as an individual person. And most importantly, in the event where the government is not allowing for those things to flourish, so people do not have rights and are not having their needs met, social contract theory demands that the people revoke that implicit consent by either letting the government know through protest or more intensive means of organizing. The social contract in America is functionally just a magic circle in which we all believe in the efficacies of the laws that the government creates and abide by them. We're giving consent by saying, yes, I will participate in civil society as long as you give me XYZ. And just like the magic circle and the meta conversations that come when it's broken, when the social contract is broken, it is the responsibility of the parties involved to seriously consider whether the rules of the social contract were meaningful or helpful in the first place. And when that doesn't happen, and we see what's going on right now, it feels like the game is rigged. And if that is making you angry, it's completely understandable because the rules of the game are changing to be whatever is convenient for the most powerful people. Johan Huizinga actually very directly linked these theories of play and how humans participate in play in general to politics and governing in society. The longer you participate in these traditions, the more they're reinforced and the more real they feel. A lot of Americans nowadays are forgetting the key aspect of the social contract is that you have to give consent for the continuation of this game to go on. The mythos of America and American institutions in particular is so strong. But one thing I really want people to remember is that the founding fathers and all of the philosophers that influenced them made it very, very clear that the second the social contract stops working for the people, you are supposed to remove yourself from it, remove consent, and tell the government what's what. I can tell you from personal experience that I certainly feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with the US government and the ridiculous games that they play every day. But the point is that they're not meant for us, and they're breaking the sanctity of these institutions, of the magic circle, and the safety of the game of democracy. Make your voice be heard. Make sure that the government knows that you are not okay with this. The longer that we implicitly give consent, like all of this is acceptable, the farther this is going to continue and the worse it's going to get. Remember that politics and game theory are very, very intrinsically linked to one another. And the more that we see those similarities, the more that we can use non-threatening concepts like game and game theory to better understand our real world problems and circumstances. So yeah, maybe don't rage quit your table, maybe talk to your friends, communicate about what's going wrong, but in politics, the founding fathers made it clear that it is your job to rage quit. Now I have to ask, when was the last time you had a game group ruined by the magic circle being shattered?